Hi, good morning. So we have discussed in terms of how do we improve the efficiency of the employees, right? The tech platforms or so. Now let's discuss how do you get the right talent in your organizations. So the topic as they basically gave was attracting the top talent. I have just cancelled out the top talent because in my view, what is needed at this point in time is the right talent, a right match between your organization, culture-wise, skill-wise, and with the talent that can actually join, right? So let me start off with the first question, and I want to sort of pose it out to everybody present here. What is your biggest fear? Or rather, what is your biggest challenge when you're looking at hiring and engaging your future employees or probable employees? Anyone? Maybe 3, 4? You don't need a mic, just throw out the words. Yes, ma'am.
As a startup, we actually face people objecting for multifarious roles. See, we actually want somebody who handles the complete development life cycle. But people say, no, I'm a developer, I'm a tester, I am particular release and...
I'm a back-end developer, full stack.
So we actually have an objection for people accepting the role.
That's
what we are facing right now.
Okay, all right, yes. The whole cycle repeats, right? Retention. What else? Yes.
Making people job ready when they join. They say
Training, yeah.
But they're not really there. So how do we get them to be in the action mode the way we want is the biggest.
Sure, yes. Just show up. Join, essentially. The quality of hire and the wrong hire. You also had something, right? Yeah. That's the biggest problem. Anybody from here? Yeah. 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 So just in the interest, the gentleman is saying that the problem is that in those 40-45 minutes, would you be able to judge that person whether that person has the right skill sets and matches your culture? Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Sure. So I'll answer some of them. And indirectly, for me, I think some of them haven't been pushed across. But when we speak to all our clients, the HR professionals who are looking at hiring, these are sort of 5 biggest challenges or fears that they face, right? The first one is the sourcing. Okay, now, this is not your typical sourcing because bigger companies can actually do a job listing and I'm sure they'll have thousands of resumes, right? That's not a problem. The problem basically comes whether you have the right person actually engaging with you or applying for you, right? The second one is the budgets. Obviously, everybody knows it's a cost center. Many a times it's looked at as a cost center. So how do we, create that best ROI? The third is getting the right and diversified talent, okay? And with this, I pose another question, right? So in many organizations nowadays, diversity is also a key word, right? We want to increase our diversity numbers, correct? And I'll show you one of the examples, but just show of hands or maybe anybody, how many female coders would be there in India right now in their probably final year of engineering? Anybody? Because see, everybody wants to hire tech, everybody wants to hire diversity, but we just want to get those numbers right? Anybody, can you make a guess how many female coders are there in their final years who are looking out for job? Anybody? Less than 10,000, more than 10,000? Who thinks it's sort of close to 10 to 20,000? 10 to 20,000. So about, it's more. So I'll come to that. So effectively our analysis shows that there are close to about 1 lakh female coders who are looking out for jobs across all the engineering colleges. Now that's a massive, massive number. However, still the percentage of the overall coders in the market, it's still only 10 to 15% overall. And I'm talking about pretty much everybody who basically is learning to code as well, right? The final joining, everybody knows about it. And time to hire. Another basic aspect that we have sort of catered to is essentially business giving you your requirements and how soon are you able to close them. And there are 2 specific outcomes of this, right? One, it basically gives you more time to do other aspects, right? Maybe focus on other elements. And it also basically provides you the efficiency to basically move into your final joining. The sooner you make offers, the better it is for you to actually have people join. Now, I'll give you certain examples. We are not here to solve all these problems, very frankly. The final joining is definitely a problem. We are not solving for that. But we have been able to solve in last financial year itself pretty much problem of hire and engage for pretty much all big recruiters in India. And I'll go and give you examples. So Walmart, our poster boy, so earlier last year, they reached out to us stating that, hey, we want to hire about 30 to 40 female coders, right? We basically created a sort of a challenge. So it's not a typical job listing. And that's where it is very, very different, okay? So what basically happened was across India, in a matter of 2 weeks, 51,000 female coders applied for this particular challenge. And why they applied, right? Why can't a Walmart go to a Naukri or big platforms and do a job posting? Only because students and early talent know that HRs won't reply there. Here, what we have done is that we have tried to solve that problem through this engagement, right? So typically, if you see, this is not different from a typical funnel that any company will basically go through. So the first round is an MCQ, then a coding challenge where they code online, and then the interview. Typically, everybody does this, right? At least for the early talent or so, correct? But here, what's happening is, everything happens on one platform, and the students who are applying, or the early talent who are applying, now the onus is to them to engage with you, rather you having that onus to engage with them. Let me exemplify. Let's say 51,000 girls applied for this challenge, right? Now, out of 51,000, if you're an HR, right, or if you're managing, you can't and you won't go through all of them, their skill sets to shortlist. It's very simple, right? So then the students cannot expect an instant feedback on their application. And that's why we thought that, hey, the first 2 challenges, they can come anytime, take it. So now they get to know after doing that challenge that, hey, whether they have made that cutoff or not. And with this, what we are also saying is that we are actually going beyond resumes. And we are restricting to campus, freshers, and early talent. I'm not talking about the experienced candidates at this point in time. But this worked wonders, right? The whole campaign, we call it a campaign. It was from start to end about 4 weeks. In a matter of 4 weeks, 4 to 5 weeks, 51,000 female coders applied. They went through the first 2 preliminary rounds. Walmart interviewed a whopping 300 or 325 candidates in the final round, and they made 165 offers, okay, which is 4x of what they intended to. And out of 165, 140 have joined them, which is a massive, massive number, right? And then what's happening is that this is not only for biggies, right? So JustPay, another startup. So basically, if you just see the numbers, right, what happens is that the numbers are much, much bigger, but you as an organization only interview only the selected few who have shown certain skill sets that you want to evaluate. And these assessments can actually be customized for your typical job. Okay, and I'll give you an example. So JustPay did this, where they got 90,000 plus, and then they did 3 hiring challenges in a year itself because the numbers were massive, right? And typically they rolled out 2,600 PPIs, okay, only through these platforms. And trust me, the time investment from the HR side was only coming towards the end to only interview those candidates, only because they actually wanted to hire, right? And the conversions are much, much better, right? Then another company, right? So again, I'm just giving you those buckets, right? Another company hired about 20, 25, not bigger numbers, but eventually this is a 100-employee company, right? Still, they were able to have applications in close to thousands or so, right? And we have numerous such cases, correct? Now, let me come to the assessments part, right? Now, Amazon or Flipkart, both of us are our clients, right? Now, sir, your problem was the culture fit, right? Whether they would know what they would do once they join a company, correct? Now, if you see here, for the Amazon and Flipkart, the first assessment is a generic assessment, okay? Because we want to have some respectable numbers. If you see Flipkart, they actually had very, very specific challenges so that they know that, boss, if you're applying for robotics, you apply only for robotics. And during the challenge itself, if you basically see, after the first screening round, the second round is actually giving them problems which ensures that they know what they will do once they join your organization. So they are actually doing employer branding. So if you see this, right, this is not typical job listing per se, right? This is doing your employer branding. This is ensuring that the assessments are happening as per your skill sets, and it is contextualized to your environment as much as possible, not all as such, right? And the only thing is that even if you're not able to hire at that point in time, you have the talent pipeline with you. Another example, Uber. Uber did in January a challenge where they wanted to hire close to about 50 to 100. They hired. Now there is a new business requirement, right? And they had about 20, 25,000 applications already. Now imagine they're rolling out another challenge which doesn't make sense, right? But what they did was that the people who showed interest in the first challenge itself in January, they basically cleared the first 2 rounds. They sent out an email to them that, hey, if you're now interested with Uber, please go ahead and apply. And eventually they'll be able to close that within a matter of 2 to 3 weeks because they already had this talent pipeline, right? So we're solving those problems only because in this, it's not just a job listing, it's much more than that. We are ensuring that they are actually engaging and connecting with you as a brand, which ensures that they basically become your talent pipeline, right? And that's it. We basically are Unstop. Earlier we were called Dare to Compete. We just rebranded very, very recently, about 5 to 6 days back. So if you Google us, just type unstop.com. In Google, we may not be there at this point in time because the rebranding only happened 5 days back. But we work across sectors, so it's not about the tech. It's FMCG, e-commerce, all big top recruiters are with us. And we have our community of about 3 million users who are engaging on Unstop through these quizzes, competitions or so. So we have specific engagements as well, where let's say if you are an Asian Paint or an HUL, they do very, very specific campaign for only the IIMs and the IITs, right? And that too, only the final year guys. Within a matter of 2 weeks, we're able to reach out to only those candidates who are in, let's say, IIMs and IITs in their final year, and they basically register and they are able to hire. Because we have a community where we actually know the whole profile of our users precisely to the point which course are they doing, which year they are in, which college they are in, what is their gender. Even we are doing hackathons, not only male, female, but others as well. We are in touch with companies where we are looking at doing diversified hackathons for LGBTQ, right? So all those. Open to questions. I don't want to hold you back any further because it's a break. Happy to answer any questions. Yes. Go on. Awesome. Which company? Porter. Yes. Yeah.
Just wanted to check that, do you have any plans to go to, beyond 3 years of experience? Because, as a mid-stage startup, one of the challenges is the entire engineering team itself is about 100 people. you can't add 100 more, SD1s,
Yeah.
because then who'll train them? And that's a major challenge, right? So 2 questions. One is, are you planning to go beyond 3 years? Because that would be a great help to all the early and mid-stage startups. And the second one is, you heard almost everybody said that the joining is the biggest concern.
Yeah.
Now, we are also waiting, because I think most of the offers that we made through Dare to Compete or Unstop now are going to join us by around end of July. So the proof of the pudding would be at the end of the July to see how many of those join.
Yeah.
Any plans to do anything on the joining stage?
Sure. I'll answer both the questions. So right now we are at 0 to 5 years, not 3 years. So we cater to 0 to 5 years. We have done campaigns for Lenovo, Porter, Innovator, L'Oreal, for experienced guys as well, and there have been recruits completely. We have been in existence for last 5 years, and that's why our whole database in terms of the people who passed out earlier are now engaging with us, because everybody is finding jobs. So, but right now it is 0 to 5 years, right? The second part, we are doing engagements, not only employee engagements, where we've worked with Reliance, PwCs and all, to basically engage their internal employees. We engage with the offered employees. So imagine, okay, so we did this with Genpact, okay, where they offered 100 people, right? And they offered these students and early professionals in the month of February, and their joining was in June, right? We created different engagements in all these months. One, to push across information about the company who has offered you, right? And to basically capture in terms of the interest of those offered guys who are engaging with your brand during the offer period, okay? When we did this, with 96% accuracy, we gave them 7 names of people that we thought won't join them. And exactly all 7 didn't join them on the day of the joining. Only because we were able to capture their interest through multiple engagements that also happened from the offered stage to the joining stage. What happens is it's a black box. You don't know where the candidate is, right? But if you are able to engage them in that 2 months' time or a 3 months' time through maybe smaller aspects, you will be able to check whether that person is engaging with your brand or not, and that basically gives you a proof point whether this person will join or not. Because the person who joins will engage with your brand through these engagements. And we've tried a couple of campaigns, and the accuracy was 96%. Yeah.
Would you be making this like a part of a standard package going forward, or would it be on need basis?
No, so I mean, that basically depends on the clients. Big companies may not need this at this point in time, but now we are catering to MSMEs and pretty much across the world. Effectively, what we are telling is we are connecting the unstoppables, which is the talent that we have, to the world. We are working with people in India, bigger companies, our clients, to actually engage the US, Europe, and APEC talent for them. Because now everybody is going beyond boundaries. If they are not able to get that talent in India, can they go to US, UK, and APAC to get that talent? And we are actually engaging on that level as well to go beyond. But it is basically what companies require. Our standard offerings are this, but all of that I talked about are add-ons of what you do. Yes, sir. Sorry, come again? Yeah. Yeah, employee engagement. Yes, we track that as well in our profiling. Yes, so we started tracking that in last 6 months. So if we were to do a campaign, our users will be able to target exactly that, I mean, that disability or differently abled. We are capturing that as well. Okay. In the profiles.
Yeah, you're capturing and they're also finding employment. Are they also eligible for those campaigns? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, they're eligible. So I'll give you a case in point.
Yeah,
so
sure.
The Amazon example that I showed you, right? So there was, I think, a couple of candidates who had a bit disability. and they were taken a different route in terms of the assessment. So they won't be able to do the normal assessments.
Correct. That's
Right.
exactly
So,
what I
so
wanted
the
to get to.
different assessments were basically taken. The more time was given to them, and that also happened through the platform itself, because we knew that, hey, out of, let's say, 20,000, these 5 or 10 are let's say differently abled, and they may require a different assessment, and those customizations are done.
Oh, that was done, and then.
Yes, yes. For Amazon, it was done, and the case in point was the few people. I think one candidate was from IIM Calcutta, and a few others were there.
Interesting. Congratulations on that. That was a great job.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. Yeah, sure, sure. So essentially what we basically do is the authenticity, very frankly, we check after they have gone through the first filtration route. It's not possible for us to check for 90,000, okay? But on our platform, it is not just one opportunity that you're partnering on. So we have at the back-end algorithm that if a company has validated your profile already, right? So we would know that, hey, you are actually verified. Correct? And we have on our database all the verified profiles. However, few cases will always be there towards the end, just before the interviews, whether they are legitimate or not, right? Whether they have everything which they have put across on their CV, correct? Now, no matter what you do, our team tries to verify those, but eventually, everywhere across the world, that verification only happens after you have offered them through background checks, right? Whether the marks are correct or not, right? Whether they are doing multiple jobs or not. Now, another check is happening where they might be working from home, and they may be working in 2 or 3 companies, right? So those background checks are also being done. Yeah. All right, so I won't hold you. I think, Deeksha, there'll be a break. I hand it over to you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time.